Okay, the winners are here. Chelsea, Spurs, the one games. First, away win for Chelsea since October, and Spurs won a game, believe it or not. Everybody's happy. Both fans are happy. Also, Liverpool losing, that means both of them are actually a step closer to their target. Chelsea's target is finish the top half of the table, and Spurs to finish in the top four. I welcome Danny, Bice, Naz. And everybody's here with me, guys. Yes. And Jacob as well. So, guys, the Spurs lot. I want to start with the Spurs lot because there's a lot of heat. Richarlison playing well today. Danny played very, very well. Antonio Conte got everything correct against Forest. He never looked in trouble. You felt like you were in control the whole game. So, how are you feeling? You hopeful that this season might come something positive out of it?
No, there's nothing positive that can come out of the season. The only the only thing that can be positive is winning a trophy, and the only trophy we actually have a fight for mathematically is the Premier League. And let's be honest here, if you think we're going to win the Premier League, snap out of it, wake up. Your dream is going on for too long. Listen, top four for me is not an achievement. Top four for me is not an achievement. Although it is our goal, it's not an achievement for me. But obviously today, Liverpool dropping points, I thought that usually when other teams drop points, we crumble. But today, we've taken advantage of Liverpool dropping points, and we've gone 6 points clear, I think it is, of top four. So that's positive. Obviously, Son played well today. Richarlison played well today. I was very impressed by Perisic, not by Perisic, Pedro Porro as well. But yeah, for me, I don't think there's nothing that can come positive from the season. Top four is nothing. Top four is absolutely nothing. It's not a trophy. Fans need to wake up from this illusion of having top four every season and just being happy with that. It's not any good. Like, we need to go for something big. That's why my stance on the ownership, I'm not going to go on the ownership today because I feel like I'm going to be a broken record going into them every single stream. But I think the performance was very positive today. We were dominating the game and we were very clinical.
Jacob, you really believe that you can go for the league this year? Did you believe that there is something better than this going for, like, I'm not sure, like, is Danny really, like, overreacting to this?
No, I remember at the beginning of the season, when we signed Richarlison, Basuma, and all these guys, and every stream that I was going on, they're all talking about like, it's a 10 out of 10 window, and I'm like, yeah, 10 out of 10 window would be bringing in those players plus a couple of extras because we didn't have anything creative, plus getting rid of the players that we don't like. We're surplus to requirements, like we're looking at it now. We're fighting for, let's say, trophies, and we're bringing on Davinson Sanchez. Like, even today, even though we got the result, Lucas Moura's coming on when it's pretty clear that he's going back to Brazil. So, I was saying it from the beginning of the season that realistically, those signings indicated that our goal was top four. We weren't going to win the league. When you're looking at Man City's squad, when you're looking, Liverpool have crumbled, but, you looked at Liverpool's squad and thought that, they're definitely going to finish top two. You looked at Chelsea when they had Thomas Tuchel, the guy had won a Champions League the season before, so you knew they were going to be in the reckoning. So I knew straight away it was going to be a top four fight, and that's what we're in now. So, like Danny alluded to, it's just top four. Like, what's that? Like, my son was watching the game with me. He's only 6, and he's, obviously he's only really supported Tottenham for like 2-3 years. So when Harry Kane's scoring, he's jumping up and running around the house going mad. But because I understand what's going on here, like, we were 2-0 up and I was falling asleep, man. Do you know what I mean? It's just I've got no interest. It ain't going to ruin my weekend whether Tottenham win or lose at the minute because, again, it's one of those ones where it's like I've supported Tottenham for 30 years. We've won 2 League Cups. So like I was saying it on streams before, Tottenham fans, I think Tottenham fans overreact as in like, why have we not got trophies? Because if we're going mad that we ain't won trophies, Leicester should be going nuts because in the time that I've supported Tottenham, Leicester have won a Premier League, an FA Cup and a Carling Cup. So they should be going nuts. If they're in a relegation scrap right now. They're in a relegation scrap. So if I'm a Spurs fan and I'm going to lose sleep over the weekend for getting knocked out of a cup, Brendan Rodgers should be followed home, innit?
Would you not change spots with Leicester, like in terms of the last 10 years?
Would I change it?
Yeah.
In the last 10 years.
In the last 10 years, we're 100%.
So,
100%.
I want
realistically,
to get him. I want to ask
Premier
a
League
question here,
trophy.
Jacob. Let me ask a question. Do you really think that you want to be a bigger club than what you actually? I'm sorry. I don't mean an insult. It's like
No, of course, yeah.
do you spend as much as other people? Is your fan base as big as someone like Liverpool, Man United? Are your expectations? You think that you have expectations higher than what actually the reality? Do you guys think that at all?
That's exactly what I think, because it's like, put it this way, I've been on streams over the last 6 months, and Tottenham fans will compare it to like Arsenal. So, for instance, Arsenal, they went through a stage where they were finishing 8th, 5th, not getting Champions League football, and Spurs fans would say laugh at them. But then what I used to say to a lot of my friends that support Tottenham is that Arsenal, the reason why they're getting so stressed is because Arsenal were up here winning leagues, winning FA Cups, and then when they're going down to 5th or 6th, it's a travesty. Whereas in that time, Tottenham, I remember when I was little, we used to finish 13th, and I was thinking that was a good season. So when we finished 4th, all of a sudden it's the pinnacle. So I don't understand how we can have the same energy as the elite clubs like your Arsenals, Man United, Chelsea, Man City, Chelsea of recent, because we haven't been winning anything. So what divine right have we got? For me, we've got as much right as winning trophies as Everton, because they've won as much as us historically.
Jacob, we charge the most ticket prices in the Premier League. We should be demanding the most success.
Yeah, but then what the thing is though is the plan. What it is, I agree with you. But the problem is that the plan from the ownership of this club is to fool us as fans. So realistically, they know that Tottenham aren't a club that have been winning. So if you're a fan, you'll be disgruntled, but you still pay it. And they know that. So then what they do is that when it gets really bad, we brought in Mourinho. Blindfolds everybody. Then just when it gets bad with Mourinho, they bring in Nuno. Blindfolds everybody. And then we bring in Conte. Blindfolds everybody. Their plan isn't what goes on in the grass. Their plan is what goes on in their pockets.
But that's where my problem lies. My problem lies with the fans that they're not demanding the most. That's why I get so frustrated with the fan base, because we should be demanding the most success with the most with us paying the most price, the highest prices in the Premier League for a stadium ticket. That's a disgrace. If we're not winning the biggest successes, we should be boycotting games, and we shouldn't be going to games. We should not be buying merchandise, and we should be boycotting the club. That's where my frustration with the fan base comes from.
Yeah, I agree. But then the problem is, we've got a fan base. So you see, like, again, we go to the elite clubs. You've got big clubs that, let's say Chelsea, for instance. So right now, everybody's on the same wavelength. Pretty much all of them would say Graham Potter's not to the standard. The problem with Tottenham is that there'll be a section of us that are like, so we'll win today. There'll be a section of people all over social media going, where are the Levy haters now? There'll be a section of them saying, Conte out. Section of them saying Conte in. A section of them saying Pochettino in. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like because we're not all of common, because we ain't got the same viewpoint on it. It gets to the point where how do we come together when we all think differently?
Yeah. Deji, did you feel today that this is it, one game, this is Conte's time? I felt like this is it, this one game at a time now, one game a week. He can get the top 4 and then get the season over with and achieve what he thinks. I think Antonio Conte, thinks that top 4 is the target for him with Tottenham. From every interview, I'm feeling the same.
Well, look, for me, I'm not going to lie, just because, look, I love to see my club win a match. So let me just put that out there. But I'm extremely pissed with the way that we limped out of the FA Cup, with the way we limped out of the Champions League this week. I can't say I'm going to be twerking just because we beat Nottingham Forest at home. Do you get what I'm saying? But I'll keep it real. For me, when you take a step back, and I'm listening to my brother here who was just talking, I was just having to think and say, what would be acceptable for me? I think, given the circumstances, given who Conte is, if Tottenham can finish 3rd somehow, then I reckon, and this is only because of what we've seen at Arsenal with Arteta. Arteta was going through a madness last season. you know, and he's managed to turn it around. If Tottenham could finish third somehow, then I reckon Conte deserves a 6 months extension, only to put me out of my misery, because he was telling us that the fan base is not patient, rare, all of this, all of that. I don't know. Personally, I want him out. I'm a Pochettino in. But at the same time, if he does get third, he deserves a little bit more time to see what he can do with the players, because we know that the players aren't good enough. But as for me personally, I'm not getting carried away. It was a win against Nottingham Forest, and that's it.
That's all you can. To be honest, against Nottingham Forest, you are expected to win. 2 games ahead of Man United, of course. 27 games, 1 point behind Man United, 6 points ahead of Liverpool. The Tottenham fans, are you guys in the prime location, the prime spot to make the top 4 now in this league?
I don't know about that. I don't want to say because Liverpool.
I see it's getting top 4. I'll see it's getting top 4, but I don't think top 4 means anything to us anymore.
That's it. Yeah. Well, it does to the owners, but not to the fans.
It does for the owners because they're going to get extra cash and they're going to get the fans excited, which is exactly what they want. But it doesn't add any extra pool. We had the Champions League pool this season, and what did we get? We got a 39-year-old Fraser Forster, Perisic, and Richarlison. What type of pool is that? It's not like we're going to be in the Champions League to compete for the Champions League either, because it's not like we have a team to compete for the Champions League. We're just going to get knocked out in the quarterfinals or the round of 16 again. So there's 0 point of being in the Champions League. It's just for the owners to get their money.
No, I hear what you guys are saying. On one hand, I agree, and the other hand, I do disagree. I think you need to be in it to win it, and I feel like I come from an era where Spurs were regularly finishing 8th and 10th. And I thought, am I ever going to see the day where my team will challenge for the Prem? Am I ever going to see the day where we could get into top 4? And then there was a period of time under Poch where we were a regular top 4. We even got to a Champions League final. Let's be real, none of us expected to see a Champions League final in our lifetime, but we did. So for me, I just feel like the move that needs to take place, and I think we all know it, Levy is not the one. What we need right now as a fan base is that we need to call on China, the UAE, or somebody in the bloody US to come and buy this club. Because football now is a billionaire's playground. And if we're not ready to be spending the money that the big boys are spending, then we can't call ourselves top 6. And then we might as well go and get a Graham Potter, go and get a Marco Silva, that kind of ilk, where we're not ready to spend big money, and we'll kind of go through a season on a wing and a prayer. Do you get what I'm saying? But for me, if we can back up...
Well, come get Graham Potter still.
But here's the thing, though. We don't spend little. We spend a good amount of money. The problem for me is where we spend it in. We need a center back, and it's the clearest position that we need improvements in. And we go out and sign Danjuma. That's a joke.
And he doesn't even play as well.
Exactly. We're the 9th richest club in football. I don't think the money that we have is a problem. Joe Lewis is somewhere in the middle of the ocean, cruising on his yacht, and he has the cash. I know he's a problem because he doesn't invest in the squad in the right places. But at the end of the day, the money that he has, he's not a poor guy. He can spend the money. He has the resources to spend the money, but he just doesn't put them in the right places.
He's not spending, so he should come out. He's not spending it. When I'm looking at Saka being on more money than Kane, and I'm like, how can that be? Like, what I'm saying, Saka should, based on what Kane has done in the Premier League, based on the fact that he's second to Alan Shearer with all of his personal accolades, I know he ain't won any trophies with Spurs. How can a 22-year-old Saka and Reece James be on more money? And that's what I'm talking about. The levels don't make no sense. We can't be big 6 and Arsenal's young guns are getting more money than our highest paid player in the club. That don't make no sense. That's why we need maximum investment. I agree. If you get Joe Lewis out, get Levy out, because these men, let me tell you what these men are trying to do. They're trying to turn Tottenham into a global franchise. We're going to have a bloody golfer named Tottenham. We're going to have an F1 Formula 1 vehicle named Tottenham Hotspur. We're going to have a basketball team named Tottenham Hotspur. We're going to have a football club named Tottenham Hotspur. We're going to have a London NFL team called Tottenham. What is that? I don't want to see Tottenham Hotspur as a bloody NFL team. But that's where we're going. Do you get what I'm saying? So for me, this kind of business model, I don't want it. What I want is someone who's got stupid money, like the guys that took over Newcastle, to come in and take our club. Everything at Tottenham, the infrastructure is there. The best stadium, best training ground. The only thing we need to sort out now is the pitch. But at the moment, do I think Conte is the one to do the job? Honestly, I don't think so. Unless we're ready to spend £500 million in the summer. And if we ain't ready to spend £500 million, then let the brother leave. That's what I'm saying. But
£500 million.
But do you know what the problem is? It's the owners, yeah.
£500 million.
The owners will never do that. So, like, if I give you an analogy, it's like, imagine if you bought a new car. You bought a new car, you've done it all up, you put all the bits on it, and you're thinking, right, this is the car that I've wanted for my whole life. And then literally, as soon as you've done everything up, someone comes to you, says, I'll buy that car with you for what it's worth. You're gonna go, nah, I want double that because I've just got it. So it's the same with these guys. These guys have planned that for ages with this stadium, with all this, and then even with the wage budget. So, like, for us as fans, you're right in saying that Harry Kane should be getting paid more. But for Daniel Levy, he's like, that's nice. I've rinsed Harry Kane out that much, and just when he probably deserves to be on 400-500k a week, let him go then. Because they don't care what goes on the grass. They don't care.
I think when it comes to the Harry Kane thing, I hate Daniel Levy and I hate the ownership. But when it comes to the Harry Kane being paid less money than Saka, I think it more has to do with the inflation in football than when Harry Kane signed his contract. The inflation in football was lower. Now, since it's so high, he's getting paid more money. So, look, I hate Levy more than the next person, but I don't think that's really on just on the ambition. I think that's more on just he was worth back then was less than what Saka's worth right now.
And he signed a 6-year deal, didn't he? So,
but if Kane signs a new contract tomorrow for Tottenham, I guarantee you that it's going to be more than Saka's contract is at Arsenal. But it's just the inflation in football. For that one, I think, in my opinion.
Bias, give me your opinion. Are these guys overreacting? Seriously?
I think, listen, I don't think they're overreacting, but it's like a half full glass, half empty situation with Tottenham right now. They should be doing better than what they are, 150%. Like, we have to call it what it is. But the ownership, I feel like the ownership is holding them back, and even the players to some degree they're holding themselves back. I think a lot of your players have gotten too comfortable. A lot of your players aren't good enough to be there, and the fact that they're still there shows. He didn't have anymore. Like, you could see he lost it. After that World Cup, you guys should have just capitalized and sold him. Eric Dyer still starting in a team is a disgrace. You see what I'm saying? The Bergwijn, Lucas Moura, all of those similar type players, they're like wingers, but they can play all across the front line. The recruitment, the midfield, Giovanni Celso, Harry Winks, and Ndombele. Like, you guys still haven't replaced Moussa Dembele. You see what I'm saying? Sissoko, all of those guys, like the defense, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, like you guys had players there, characters there. However, those guys left. These guys that are there aren't good enough, and I feel like your ownership is just content with being in and around the top four. Like at some point, the fans need something.
But do you really believe they can challenge? You really believe they can challenge?
They can't change the way they are now. They can't. You know why?
We should be in a position to challenge with the money that we spend on season tickets.
Exactly. I know that your frustration, Daniel, that you actually spend a lot of money to not be challenging at least.
Exactly. But look, I've got to run real quick.
The last time the challenge was that Leicester season. That Leicester season was the year. That was the year they were supposed to bridge the gap.
But look, after we were on a high, after that season where we're on a fantastic high, we didn't go in the season after and we didn't invest. If we would have invested, I seriously believe that we could have won the league that next season. But look, big up everybody in the panel, big up everybody in the chat. I've got to run.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you later, Dan.
Big up to everybody.
Yeah.
But just to say, just going on what Dan was about to say as well, is that, Tottenham had a chance this season. Liverpool's been poor, Chelsea's been poor, Man United started at the beginning, City ain't really been themselves. If Tottenham, we're third and we're fourth. And we're having a pretty crap season where the manager's job is pretty much on the line and he's getting frustrated. And imagine if Tottenham had just done half decent. You know, one of the things that I find quite astonishing is that, you know, we've lost a third of our games. We've lost bloody 9 games and we're fourth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if Tottenham had just had a half decent season where maybe 4 of those losses were draws or 4 of those losses were even wins, you're talking about us being right behind City and actually within a title challenge. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's, for me, that's kind of
100%.
the disappointing thing about this season. Has Conte done anything? On paper, you're going to say Tottenham are 4th, rare. That's why I'm saying we have to finish 3rd for him to keep his job. Anything less than that means rubbish. Because for me, I need to see progression. And I haven't seen progression in my club this season. I can't lie. We look like we've gone backwards. We look devoid of all confidence. So for me, something has to give, and it has to be the board. They got to move out the way now. It's not their kind of space. That Daniel Levy should go and buy.
I don't get it. I don't get it because, you know why? You guys were in for Conte in the beginning, and before with Nuno, and you guys didn't get in. Obviously, you guys went back. You got assurances had to be made in terms of how the owners are going to invest, how the recruitment. I look at your recruitment. It's £60 million for Richarlison. I can't justify that. I don't care how he did in the latter part of last season to help Everton stay up. He hasn't done nothing to warrant that price tag. I understand inflation, but 60 million. You got Clement Longley that Frankie de Jong was starting over at Barcelona. That guy's where's this stuff? You said you got Jed Spence, sent him off on loan. He's cooking at Rennes right now. People are wondering if he's gonna stay.
I know.
Pedro Porro. For me, excellent signing. Signing. Everybody was saying, the first game he never looked that well. Give him some time. He's gonna grow into something special. Like,
he's a baller.
Yeah. So it's either you're gonna. I feel like in order to really salvage something, and guys might not like it because you know what I mean it's gonna be another 2 years before you guys can even look at something. It's like just call it, bro. Sell Kane, Son, and just Lloris, and just try to rebuild. Try to get another manager in, build something to last, because with guys like Conte, Mourinho's what you guys have been doing wrong. These guys are guys you have to invest in so they can win right then and there.
No, you're right.
Mm-hmm. You have to win right then and there.
100% right, yeah.
If you don't, it's a failure.
The problem is though, it's like I understand what you guys say about rebuild and all that stuff, and we are all right in what we're saying. The problem is that Daniel Levy ain't caring about the pitch. So what it is that let's say you are right in saying that we should get rid of Kane, Son, all these guys, and give it a couple of years to rebuild. The problem is if you go and sell Harry Kane for, say, 100 mil, you sell Son for, say, 50, 60 mil, that 160 million pounds is going to go to their plan, which is keep our money and build shit around the stadium. So the problem is if there's no point in getting that 160 million, because we've seen it before. We've sold big players and everybody's like, yeah, you know, don't worry, we'll get that money, invest. We haven't done it. And then when we invest stupidly. Like you said, Richarlison, 60 million probably wasn't the best. You had 40 million on Lamela. You had 60 million on Dembele, 40 million on Lo Celso. Before they joined Tottenham, who were these guys?
Yeah.
But you're talking 250 million there. But then the players that, for me, the only time we got recruitment right is when we actually had somebody that was a specialist in recruitment that was working with the coach.
When was the last time a winner?
Which was Paul Mitchell. Paul Mitchell was the best recruitment guy.
Winner came to Tottenham. When was the last time
a winning player?
Certified winner.
This is what I'm saying. Nobody.
Yeah.
I wanna shift. Nothing.
No one.
You won't find. You won't find because you won't find.
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. I want to shift a little bit to Chelsea before we go on.
Yeah,
and I want to talk a little bit about, to be honest, their performance wasn't bad at all. Their performance was good, to be honest. Their performance was, I know that there's a lot of chances that Leicester maced and all this stuff, but Chelsea, you scored 2 goals, you chopped that offside. They were great moves, to be honest, and I thought Chelsea today was better than before, to be honest. I think this is the best game I've seen for Chelsea this season.
Much better, man. I think, you see, as this game and this for the past 3 games we've won, I put this game first, the Leeds game second, and the Dortmund game third in terms of performance and how we control the game, how we play. Reason being, you could see like we always tend to give up chances. We always tend to give up chances. And it's teams creating something out of nothing. It's like we just tend to give it away in bad areas. Even the goal, Felix trying to dribble out of the back 20. That's poor decision. That's individual mistakes. You see what I'm saying? For me personally, this doesn't change my opinion on the manager at all. Still don't think he's good enough. Still don't think he's Chelsea level. I still think we should get rid and bring someone in that can develop these players properly. Mikhailo Mudryk, he beat the 007 allegations today. You know what I mean? First assist for Chelsea. He almost had a goal, but you know what I mean? Offside. You know, unlucky. Joe, what I'm seeing right now, I'm loving it. I'm taking results over performances. I'm taking everything from that game. I feel like we did excellent in the build-up, the passing patterns, players getting stuck in. Wesley Fofana and Chilwell coming back and putting on a show. That's what I love to see. Ben Chilwell, absolute beauty almost out of nothing, man. So I'm happy for it. I'm happy for the win. That doesn't change my opinion on the manager, but it's something to look forward to. I feel like I just need 3 more points so we can avoid that relegation battle, and then we'll see what we can do from there.
I like this. Naz,
relegation, he said.
Welcome back. What are the...
How can you say relegation battle?
Yeah, man, it's just... I think he's still in the fight for European places, to be honest. And
Thank you. It's the complete opposite.
You're 5 points behind Liverpool, guys.
Because
with the same games, 5 points. You guys are like, I know that. And also Liverpool might lose games as well. Like today, we got fooled by the 7-0, but they lose games. So who says that you cannot catch
Brighton
them?
as well. Brighton as well.
It's yeah, but it's not art. I have to take care of my business first and get these points secured, so we don't even have to think about slipping into something that we don't even need to be in. Secure staying up first, because let's just call it what it is. We had 2 wins out of like 17, and it put us in this conversation. Now, 5 points. We're back 5 points off Liverpool. Listen, Brighton are in 8th place. They have 2 games in hand. And they're like, how many points clear of us are they? So I have to take, before I even think of European places, I know if we can make that push some, because I need to offset some of that financial burden for next season, I'm being real. I'm saying we get the 40 points first, then push. Then we'll see what we can do. Because I love the setups, the change between formations. Last season, guys were saying the 3 at the back was a problem on the 2. Now we're seeing fans, you know what I mean, backtrack, moonwalk, do a bunch of revisionism, trying to tell me that the 3 at the back is the way forward right now. I'm calling them out on Twitter. My fan base is telling me that I'm a hypocrite and I should stop trying to, you know what I mean, claim wins. But I have to call out hypocrisy when I see it, man.
Let me ask you a question. Sid here, one of our members, saying the ref was a disgrace. He said 2 red cards not given. Was it that bad too? Because it was both ways. Because I think that also the Enzo Fernandez, I thought Daniel Amarty might have been given a yellow. To be honest, he should have been given a yellow, Daniel Amarty, for leaving his foot out there. But other than this, I thought the referee was okay. The offside it's not in his control. By the way, the offside goes
exactly. No, but look, Leicester came out to be rough, and that's why I think they took off Joao Felix quickly. They didn't want him to get roughed up, you know. I'm shocked they left Modric on for that, like, all the way in. Honestly, this, as I said earlier, yeah, I'm more optimistic. I do think we are going to make it, like, into Europe, just because, you know, a big team will win the FA Cup, and that offsets the European position by 1 more spot. Like, it might be the Conference League. I know it's a bit embarrassing, but we're going to make some form of Europe. That's what I think. Yeah, and the referee, you know what's funny? I was about to celebrate the Havertz goal, and I was like, no, don't do it. I celebrate way too many goals that get disallowed. You know? Yeah. And my friend with me, Manchester United fan, he was like, why don't you celebrate? And I'm like, you're a United fan. You've had 1 or 2 disallowed goals this season. We've had, Havertz alone has had 5 goals. I'm celebrating, and then they take it off. And then I'm like, you know, I don't celebrate no more. I don't look the fool until VAR gives me a thumbs up, you know? So that whole VAR thing has really left me as a Chelsea fan. I can't even do any live reactions no more because it's always VAR. Now I mean live reactions. I said, yes, go, what a goal, have us. 1-0 up against Liverpool, VAR. They're off the bar, on the line, no, VAR, no. You know, penalty, the penalty, yes. Bro, that penalty, I'm not even going to go into that, but I'm telling you that these refs are not the problem for me. It's the VAR that's the problem, man. I still wish we were 1999, bro. You know, the one.
But I saw like I'm not a big fan of the spending and all the stuff, but the football today was at least a good football to watch. It was encouraging, moving the ball quickly. Even the goal that got chopped off, that first goal that Joao Felix, was absolutely a great move, breaking the lines. And it was very, very good. Enzo Fernandez today showed us what he can do if he plays a little bit higher on the pitch, to be honest. But Graham Potter, again, I'm not his biggest fan at Chelsea. I was a big fan of his in his football at Brighton. But again, today you created a lot of chances, but that came with a price. You conceded tons of chances today, and it was for Kepa today, as Sid is saying. Kepa today had a magnificent game. Us. You don't think so, boys?
Saved. I mean, yeah, he had some good saves, but he played well. That one that Dewsbury Hall fluffed from that unconvincing save, you know what I'm saying? That one worried me. That was one of the things that that's why we need a keeper. That's why we need a keeper. But he did well. He did well today. Like the goal, I don't blame it on him. I blame it more on Felix. You know what I mean? He had to react and try to make up the distance. He couldn't get there in time. But yeah, it's encouraging. But at the same time, like, I don't know, man. The football is looking better, which I like. I don't want to sound like a broken record when I talk about Graham Potter, but when he was at Brighton, bro, he was just doing mid-table things at a mid-table club and was getting praised because the football kind of looked shiny.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? He was going 2 seasons in a row, 11 games, no wins. Since like September 2021, he won like 2 wins out of 25 going forward. Like people don't look at these things and think that, just because he can play well against City and Liverpool every now and again doesn't mean like he wasn't beating teams he was supposed to. He wasn't doing this. So him at Chelsea, I knew like it's gonna be a while. I'm trying to get behind him. I'm not really 100% supportive. Give me another manager, but I like what I'm seeing. It's encouraging today.
Jacob, would you like to get just a question related to Spurs, just for the last thing before Chelsea and Spurs? Would you like to get a coach that will build a project like Graham Potter and then get everybody behind him by his own squad, or would you rather get someone that is established? Antonio Conte was established, Mourinho was established. Was that something you would like at your club, or you would like to get a manager from I don't know, like a Marco Silva, someone who is at a smaller club and come and build with the club?
The thing is, I don't even know with Tottenham anymore, because what it is the owners have shown that there's no plan. So if the plan is right to say that these fans deserve, you know what I mean. So if the fans say that they want success in the next 2 to 3 years, let's say, we want to win an FA Cup, anything like that.
Is that question for me? Because I can't.
Is it for me?
Yeah, it was for Jacob. I wanted to compare the two models. Spurs have got two established managers, while Chelsea went, even with the money, went for the one that it's a long-term plan. We keep hearing about this, and this is just a comparison between both.
Yeah, so for me, is that if you want
the manager I want, because I got tired of the sucking and hiring of managers. I thought with this new ownership,
who's the question for? Is it for me?
Jacob. I was asking Jacob.
Jacob.
I was getting confused then. Yeah, so for what it is for me is that it all depends on the plan. Like you look at, for instance, Chelsea. Chelsea traditionally, when they had Abramovich, for instance, their plan was right. If you ain't succeeding in 3 years, you're not going to be him. We're going to bring in the next man to succeed for another 3 years. So that everybody hated the plan, but it was ruthless and it worked. You know, Man United, theirs was longevity. Arsenal, again, longevity. Liverpool, to an extent. Tottenham have never had a plan. I've never known what's gone on. You know what I mean? Like, Pochettino works, but the plan wasn't for Pochettino to go and challenge for the title and win leagues. It was a case of bringing him in to kind of appease the fans and get the youth project going so we save money. But then he done that well that we got to a final. So for me, it doesn't really matter what manager you've got. If you're going to do a project, you know, if you've got a project manager and you go and get a Thomas Frank, a Pochettino and all these guys, Graham Potter, it needs to get to the point where you have a plan. So the simplicities of the plan would be, you know, give the manager time. So, you know, let's say we brought in Graham Potter as a project, you need to kind of say, well, if he comes in first season and finishes 10th, you've got to allow it. You've got to give him the next season to maybe finish 6th and then build up to the point where at the end of the project, you've won something. And then if you're going to go and bring in these now managers like your Mourinho's, your Contes, you've got to back them. Like every time we brought them in, I said to everybody, they won't win. These are successful managers. They'll come to Tottenham and not win anything. Why? Because that's what Tottenham do. We're not going to go and give Mourinho, we all know you've got to give him 300 million and he can get rid of players who he wants there and then. So when you wanted to get rid of Dele Alli, you just get rid of him there and then and bring in whoever you want. Conte wants Bastoni. Get him in straight away. But then you know, we don't get Bastoni. You're like, you know, I'm sure you'll be all right with Davinson Sanchez. We can't get Diabala. You'll be all right with Richarlison, though, won't you?
Yeah.
What's the point? If you're not going to have a plan from the top, it doesn't really matter if you bring in Conte, if you bring in me. If you're not going to back up what that manager wants, you're going to fail.
Yeah. Chelsea, Naz and Bice, just last thing about Chelsea is that Bice, you're clear. You want Potter out. You want an established manager. You want someone that come in and manages this 38 players. Naz, are you on the same boat with Bice?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, like what he said, Potter can only turn it around if he goes on a crazy run, and even, you know, Champions League finals, and then wins enough games to finish, I don't know, 7th or 6th, because I just can't jump on this Potter ship, man. I also think it's a bit crazy that we want to be the team that has the first ever English manager to win a Premier League and a Champions League. You know, I thought that'll be a Man City project. We tried it with Lampard. It went terribly wrong. I don't think that's why I'm not worried about Newcastle. As long as they keep Eddie Howe, he could do as much goodness as he wants. An Englishman seems to be cursed. They can't win the World Cup, the Premier League, the Champions League. You know, since '92, since they've changed these names, it's almost like a curse. Like, and I don't have to believe in juju, but I come from a team that has the most injuries and the most re-injuries, players getting re-injured again in history. Like, yeah, so there must be some kind of curse, man. Bring Mourinho back in, man. He always had the anti-juju.
Okay. Any last thing to say about like Chelsea? Is that one game now? Bice, one game now, a week, I think. Oh no, with the Champions League coming in about 3 weeks for you.
When's the Champions League draw?
It's a Friday after the next game.
Friday.
Yeah. So are you targeting that Champions League trophy, Bice?
No Potter's luck, he'll go to the finals and lose.
I think I just wanted him to beat Dortmund. Let's see who we get, and then we can speak more about that. Yeah. It all depends on the next opponent. You see what I'm saying? But it's a cup competition. For some reason, Chelsea always tends to find a way through in these cups. I don't think we get the Champions League. I don't think that's realistic for us this season. We do have the dynamic players. We have the ability to switch it around, try to adapt, but not with this manager. I don't think this is the manager that gets that for us. He was saying Mourinho. I don't even want to try that a third time. I'm saying we get somebody in that is proven to develop and can help us win along the way to where we need to be. And I'm perfectly fine. But champs, no chance. Okay. Not this season.
Thank you, everyone that tuned in. We're on after the Man City Crystal Palace game that's going on right now for a reaction. Thank you for all my guests. Thanks, Bice, Naz, Jacob, and Danny, and Deji. They were here. Appreciate you guys and appreciate your time. And hopefully we'll see you guys.
Thanks for having us on, man.
Absolutely fantastic. Thanks for the opinions and thanks for jumping on. Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys soon.